Elvis, Take That, Santana, Mariah Carey, Liverpool, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Andy Murray at the Australian Open. Everybody loves a stunning comeback, but nobody does it more often and more effectively than Manchester City. They've won 6 Premier League titles, and in 4 of those seasons they have recovered from deficits of more than 8 points to do so. This club are the comeback kings. Arsenal lead them by 8 points right now. They've played the same amount of games and both have big weekends, massive weekends. City's starts here against a side that's fed up of being a supporting act, crave the limelight reserved for silverware winners, but know that it's taking longer than expected. Antonio Conte was supposed to revive Spurs' fortunes, but they're fading rather than trending, having lost more games this season than they have at this stage in any of the last 14 years. Both teams turn up at the Etihad Stadium, battered and bruised from Derby Day defeats, and looking to put right the weekend wrongs. Here are the two sides, starting with the home team, Manchester City. Ederson is their goalkeeper. A back four of Rico Lewis, Manuel Akanji, John Stones and Nathan Ake. It's Rodri and Gundogan anchoring the midfield, with Grealish just ahead of them. Alvarez and Mahrez supporting Haaland in attack. Blue shirts, white shorts, blue socks for City tonight, taking on the Tottenham team in white shirts, navy shorts and white socks, attacking the goal away to our left in the first half, with Hugo Lloris in goal despite what was quite a calamitous performance in the North London derby. Christian Romero, Eric Dyer and Ben Davis as the three at the back. Emerson Royal, Rodrigo Bentancur, Højbjerg and Perisic across the middle, with Kulusevski and Kim-Min Song supporting Harry Kane, just one goal away from equalling Jimmy Greaves' record in attack. The strains of Blue Moon ring around the Etihad Stadium. We've had a laser light show, dry ice pumped onto the pitch, and now Manchester City look to turn up the heat on Antonio Conte and Tottenham Hotspur. Our referee is Simon Hooper. Our VAR tonight, Darren England, and Tottenham Hotspur are going to get us started, shooting from right to left. Alongside me in the commentary box, the former Leeds women's striker Lucy Ward. And Lucy, after Derby Day disappointment for both, explain just how important it is for both these two teams to bounce back.
Yeah, I think it's equally important for both teams. City to keep in touch with Arsenal, Spurs to show that they can get that win, that they don't always have to go behind in games to start to play. Yes, the less intensity in the first half, but you cannot afford to do it like you couldn't afford to do it against Arsenal. They cannot afford to do it against City tonight. But massive game for both teams.
Bit of breaking news to bring you on TalkSport, your place to get all the latest transfer action. If you were listening to White and Jordan earlier, you would have heard Alex Crook talking about the details of the deal that's taken Danny Ings, or is likely to take Danny Ings to West Ham United. Craig Dawson, the West Ham defender, is the subject of a bid from Wolves, and apparently in the last few minutes we understand that Wolves have agreed a £3.3 million deal with West Ham for their centre half. That's a deal that's been in the offing for quite some time. More of that will be available at talksport.com throughout the course of the evening, and of course throughout the day tomorrow with White and Jordan, and on breakfast with Alan and Ray from 6 a.m. We're underway here with the ball out of play over on the far side. 1 minute and 17 seconds played. City in possession. The ball thrown down by Ake into the path of Akanji, but that may well have been a disputed throw-in because there were two balls on the pitch.
Yeah, first thing to note, Sam, is we were wondering where Grealish was going to play. It looks like he's holding the width on that left-hand side, and Alvarez is the one who's going to play closer to Haaland in the middle. As usual, when City have got it, Lewis has come into the midfield next to Rodri, and it just allows Gundogan to get forward, but Alvarez to be the furthest forward of those midfielders.
Well, we were discussing it, weren't we, prior to the start of the match, and I wonder whether or not this could be an old-fashioned 4-4-2. Here's Gundogan trying to release Alvarez between the two centre-halves, and Ben Davies comes across, and actually it's the wing-back Perisic who tucks in to nudge the ball back on the edge of the 18-yard box back to Hugo Lloris. The clearance goes upfield through the middle and into the path of Heung-min Son, who turns and runs through the centre circle, then into City territory, firing it off to Kane. On the right side is Emerson Royale, and he just nudges the ball into the path of Kulusevski. 0-0 the score. You're listening to TalkSport. Manchester City and Tottenham live in the Premier League. Manchester City wanting to close the gap to Arsenal to 5 points. They play twice before Arsenal play again tonight, and then against Wolves on Sunday before Arsenal entertain Manchester United in what could be a key game in the title race. Hugo Lloris, the Tottenham captain, sends it long and out to the left-hand side. Springing high into the air is Perisic, who glances the ball into the left channel. Son goes across, Stones nudges it back, and Ederson will bring it out away to our left-hand side in his maroon goalkeeping kit.
Yeah, a couple of things, Sam. You saw City win it back quite deep in their own half, and they actually got it forward quite quickly in the run. Alvarez didn't get on the end of it. Perisic just mopped up in that left wing-back position, but that's what fans have been talking about. Can City attack a little bit quicker and attack the space that Spurs have got down the sides of those centre-backs, particularly when they've got Haaland and Alvarez playing?
Stones just wanders out into a right full-back position. It almost looks like a back three for City at times when Lewis wanders into that midfield position alongside Rodri when Manchester City have got the ball. He was such a key figure in turning the tide in the game down at Stamford Bridge the other week when City won by a goal to nil. Didn't have a great first half, but dominated the second, largely because of his introduction in the game. The ball's flicked out from the midpoint of the City half out to the right, and Ake up to Alvarez. It goes infield to Rico Lewis once again, and City looking to build. Every Tottenham player in white behind the ball as it goes forward to Rodri. Rodri sweeps it out to the left. There's a little bit of space here for Jack Grealish to bring the ball down and try and dance his way into the box. He goes back to Rodri instead, who lifts the ball towards the far edge of the 6-yard box, glanced away by Perisic, only as far as Mahrez, who's picked it up right angle at the penalty area. Lewis with the sweeping cross towards the far post just over the head of Haaland, and it drifts behind and out for a goal kick away to our right-hand side. 0-0. Yeah,
quite patient there, City's build-up. Spurs get themselves back into basically like a 4-5-1 and make sure that the defending the width of the box, and I think that City are quite happy to be patient with it, and then the ball ends up just a little bit too high for Haaland as it's played into the box, but Spurs will be happy with that.
Fascinating to read Mike Summerby in the programme here today, suggesting that what the City midfield players have got to do is get the ball to Haaland a lot quicker. And you mentioned that when they did that in the first few minutes of the game, Alvarez was the one they were looking for on that occasion. But that's the idea, isn't it? Releasing that speed and that power.
Absolutely. Well, mixing it up, because you probably know what you're going to get from City. That they'll kill you with possession, and they'll keep the ball and they'll try and move you about. But if all of a sudden they get up the pitch in 2 passes, then nobody can stop Haaland in behind like that. So that could be obviously something that's not the way that Guardiola likes to play. But when you've got someone like Haaland, I think that he's talked leading up to this game that he's going to maybe tinker a little bit with the way that tactically they set up to get him into the game in the centre.
We shall see. It's 0-0 and Tottenham have the ball on the halfway line. It's Ben Davies working its way out towards the left touchline where Perisic tries to take on Lewis, who dives in, puts the ball out and away for a throw-in level with the edge of the penalty area. These are two teams who, by their own high standards, have hit a very rocky patch. Two teams for whom winning here would be massive, absolutely huge, and two sides that have suffered Derby Day dejection in the last few days, and who would like to put those wrongs right this evening. Kulusevski is dancing down the right touchline. He's got such rapid speed and brilliant acceleration. He just threatened to apply so much pressure there to Akanji as Akanji trying to bring the ball out of defence. But quickly it goes up to Alvarez. It's a late challenge by Ben Davies, who's making his 250th Premier League start for Spurs.
Yeah, I think Ben Davies recognised that Spurs had just committed a few plays forward. Alvarez gets the ball to his feet, just about ready to turn, and just inside City's half, I think is the way to foul, rather than just let him get up the pitch quickly.
Alvarez, who has scored 8 goals this season for Manchester City, and they've come in 5 different competitions, and 7 of them have come here in this stadium. He thrives, like Haaland does, at the Etihad. There's a bit of pressure from Harry Kane on Ederson. Both goalkeepers have been relentlessly pressed whenever they've had the ball at the feet so far in this game. 7 minutes gone, it's still goalless. Here's Akanji, a Swiss international, into midfield, and Gundogan, who's been linked with a move away this week. He's captaining the side tonight in the absence of De Bruyne. It's played out towards the left side now, and it's collected by Ake onto Grealish, back to Ake once again. They've moved up towards the Tottenham penalty area rather smoothly, actually. Rico Lewis out towards the right, and now Riyad Mahrez just trying to drink away from the harassment being applied to him by Perisic. He's got away from him, played it in towards the edge of the area. Haaland didn't get there. Rico Lewis picked up the loose ball. It's picked over the top by Gundogan, but it was behind Haaland and Mahrez, and it goes all the way through to the goalkeeper Hugo Lloris. But that's brighter from Manchester City.
Yeah, it is, but Spurs will retreat to the edge of the box, and then they compact, they close the spaces, and what happens when, because City will progress the ball with basically a 3-2-5, it's 5 up against. When you've got a lot of players beyond the ball, sometimes it can become a little bit predictable, and that's what Spurs will want. They want City to be predictable and play in front of them.
Pep Guardiola was full of praise for Antonio Conte in the match day programme. They're a top side who play very, very good football, he said. Ask Tottenham fans if that's their experience of the season so far. Rico Lewis has it inside Tottenham territory. Akanji being harassed by Bentancur, and it goes all the way back to the goalkeeper. Ederson away to our left-hand side. Tottenham aren't playing Tottenham football, are they? They're playing a brand of Antonio Conte football. I don't know if that washes so much with Spurs fans who go and watch them week in, week out, because it can be quite dull at times.
Yeah, I mean, it's all right when you're winning and you're playing dull, but I think when you're not winning, and it's not good on the eye when you're spending money and going to watch Spurs, that's when people get a little bit grumpy.
Haaland's on his bike down the right side, but they've chosen Alvarez instead. Into the area he goes, a right-footed cross blocked by Ben Davies. It's going to go behind. So another quick move through the middle of the pitch onto Gundogan, straight out to Alvarez, who was peeling away into the right channel. Erling Haaland had decided to sprint forward into space, but they delayed the pass to him and went wide instead.
It looked like they're looking for Alvarez first, Sam, and then just allows Haaland to get in the box and cross him from that inside channel.
Corner on the near side. The first of the game, it goes the way of the home team towards Haaland, the back post from Mahrez. His first time effort actually is not particularly well hit. He almost sort of tried to guide that goalwards. It took a flick off a defender and goes behind and away for a goal kick, a corner kick actually. I thought he was going to slam this back in, but I don't think he wanted to make a mistake. I think he was just trying to get it back across Haaland, where actually if he'd have got a little bit of power behind that, that's an attempt on goal that he could have scored from. That was a gentle brush, wasn't it?
He was just being careful. I'm not saying he's lacking in confidence, because I don't think he ever is, but he was just making sure.
Hasn't had a shot on target for 3 games. Here's the corner in towards the near post. Stones was the target. It was cleared away by Emerson Royale. Those wing-back areas have been a real problem for Tottenham recently. Were a problem in the first half of that North London derby on Sunday when Arsenal were magnificent. Ball over the top by Ederson, who has assisted a goal for Manchester City once before against Tottenham Hotspur. I think he created the Gundogan goal here 2 seasons ago in a 3-0 victory. And that ball was a little bit too ambitious and goes straight through to his opposite number, Hugo Lloris. Alvarez putting pressure on Bentancur as Tottenham try to play out from the back. They're on the left side by the touchline, flicked in by Perisic. Into the air the ball goes, Stones wins it, nods it forward. He's fouled as he does so. It's a free kick to Manchester City, 15 yards inside Tottenham territory, right side.
Yeah, City are pressing with numbers high. Spurs trying to pass that press, and it's so difficult to do because City just overload them when they're trying to regain the ball.
Another free kick, this time given against Ben Davies, who's had a little swipe out at Julian Alvarez. Harry Kane is asking for explanation from Simon Hooper, who's our referee today. Alvarez is pulling up his socks and redoing his laces on his pink and black boots, and it's going to be a free kick about 6 yards outside the box. It's slightly right of centre. It favours the left footer in Riyad Mahrez here. and there will be some big bodies attacking it.
Yeah, probably 3 or 4 times now Alvarez has received the ball just in front of the back line of Spurs, and he's causing problems. They fouled him a couple of times, and this is an opportunity, you'd say, for Mahrez. A little bit far out, but we've seen him do it.
Mahrez takes 4 steps backwards. There's a 2-man war here. It is quite some distance out, but it does look as if he's going to shape this one towards goal. He hits it left-footed straight into the wall, comes back out as far as Grealish. He was encouraged to shoot, but he retained possession instead. And then Lewis goes all the way back to his goalkeeper. And Pep Guardiola comes dancing off his line and sort of jigs into the technical area and beckons his team backwards. But Rico Lewis is jinking his way past the Tottenham midfield. Another good run by the 18-year-old, who looks very accomplished at his tender years.
Yeah, I mean, he's virtually, as a young 18-year-old, he's press resistant. So when he receives it, he moves it in such a way that you can't get near him to close him down, and that is so important. That's why Guardiola plays him a lot, because no matter how old you are, if you are technically and you can scan, you can look to see where the opposition are, pick up places to receive the ball, and and then pass it is excellent.
6th start in 12 games in the Premier League for Rico Lewis, born in Bury, and it's a free kick just left of the centre circle for the home team. It's picked up by Lewis and out towards the right side, collected by Stones, and then infield it goes to Alvarez. He tries to just chug it back into Rodri, doesn't come off, and then it goes back towards Rodri once again after a back heel from Kane. But Tottenham have got the ball now. Højbjerg's been fouled in the middle of the park. He's gone down, needs some attention. The referee stopped the game. I don't think it was a head injury, by the way. Tottenham had the ball. He could have played the advantage to the referee, decided to pull it back.
Yeah, I just looked at the referee and it just saw the reaction of the players. Most of the players had stopped. There's a back heel, and it's just a little bit late from Rodri Højbjerg. But see, Emerson Royal, a couple of times he's got it, and the ball into Kulusevski has been absolutely terrible. And they need to get the likes of Kulusevski and Son on the ball in those wide areas as well.
Yeah, he gets a lot of attention, Emerson Royal, from the Tottenham supporters. Wastes quite a lot of opportunities when he gets into advanced positions. His defensive decision making isn't always the best. He was sent off earlier in the season. Matt Doherty has been playing in that role over on that right hand side recently, and maybe it was a surprise to see him on the team sheet today. He's just chested the ball down after it's been played out wide by Hugo Lloris. It was quite a difficult ball for him to control, but he managed to do that. It's thrashed clear by Romero, but it goes straight back to Manchester City. Grealish was coming back from an offside position, so left it, allowed it to run out of play, and Spurs have a throw again away to our right hand side. It's 0-0. You're listening to TalkSport. We've played 14 minutes and 30 seconds here on TalkSport. Friday night, big night in the Championship tomorrow. Burnley in action at home to West Brom, but we're bringing you live commentary of Sheffield United, also in the promotion hunt, against Hull City tomorrow on TalkSport 2. Saturday game day, Liverpool against Chelsea before we go round the ground. Southampton Villas on TalkSport 2, and Sunday Sunderland Middlesbrough live on 2 from midday. And if you haven't worked out how they got TalkSport 2 just yet, get our app. You can flick between the two stations. You can listen back to White and Jordan and the breakfast show and all the other programmes that we do on TalkSport. You can download the podcasts, all free and easy. Just go to the App Store, type in TalkSport, and you'll have hours of entertainment.
I suppose they've just won the ball back, got it wide, which is what they're trying to do every time they do win it back. This time it was Emerson Royal, tackled really well by Nathan Ake, and it's a throw into Spurs. And they do commit players forward if they know that they've got that measured possession and they can get the ball up there quickly. Spurs, that they commit players forward, but other than that, they're defending.
Been a long time since they scored a goal in the first half of a game. They're coming forward now, though, at 0-0, with Emerson Royal trying to get to the byline, tucked back to Kulusevski, who sent it across to Bentancur, back to Romero. Romero, who's in the midpoint of the Manchester City half, releases Bentancur, a flick round the corner for Harry Kane, into the side netting. The offside flag went up eventually anyway, and it was tight, but Harry Kane just showing how you can expose Manchester City, and that was a really neat pass into him by Bentancur.
Yeah, just looking at the replay, and he definitely was the wrong side of Akanji as far as Spurs are concerned, but he's looking for the little balls through. Kane is a willing runner if that happens, but there is space in between. I think Ake had just gone a little bit wide from left back, so there was space there for Kane to run into.
Well, Spurs' first half struggles have been discussed at length. The stats, Lucy, are absolutely frightening. they scored less, concede more, have significantly less shots, and have a much lower expected goal output in the first half compared to the second half. In fact, they're the 14th best first half team and the best second half team in the Premier League.
Yeah, I think they're probably doing nearly everything Conte wants them to do, apart from defend better in the first half. That is a tactic. He obviously wants them to play with more intensity in the second half, but what they have to get right is that they defend better in the first half, but they just put pressure on themselves. Teams will then sit back usually.
Gundogan finds Ake, who squares the ball to Jack Grealish, who's now moved up towards the 18-yard box that Manchester City are attacking. It goes to Rodri, flicks it out to the right side. It's brought down by Mahrez and then infield to Rico Lewis. A square ball into Rodri. Rodri lifts the ball out towards the far side of the left. It's collected by Ake. A first time crosses the box, which is going to be headed back to his goalkeeper by Perisic, but Alvarez was putting pressure on the French international Hugo Lloris, and Lloris had to reach up above his head and pull it into his yellow Tottenham Hotspur goalkeeping jersey before bowling it out to Christian Romero, who was just to his right. Kulusevski was under pressure. They've won the ball back, Manchester City, and then there was a foul right on the edge of the box. Haaland went down after a collision with Romero as the ball was played towards the edge of the area. Simon Hooper just getting a bit of instruction from tonight's VAR, Darren England, but I think they're going to wave away any process of a penalty.
Yeah, they're just trying to play the ball, slide the ball through to Haaland. It looked like he tripped up. I'm not sure that he was tripped. We're just watching the replay again. It's just a chip over. I don't know whether he got on the end of it anyway, but I'm not sure there was much in that.
Well, they've waved it away and they've restarted play, so it's not going to be given, but I wonder whether it was outside the penalty area anyway. Here is Eric Dyer under pressure, clearing upfield. Manchester City just swarming over Tottenham and making them into unforced errors at the moment, giving the ball away, and Manchester City coming forward once again with Gundogan after a handball shout. Doesn't go their way. Back to Gundogan from Grealish. Gundogan into the area, shoots right-footed towards the far corner. It arcs away at the last from the left-hand upright of Hugo Lloris's goal and flies behind for a goal kick.
I'll tell you what they're doing, Sam. They've got Rodri and Lewis in front of Spurs' two midfielders, and then they've got Alvarez and Gundogan in behind them, and they're just trying to overload that and try and get little balls around there centrally, getting the ball wide and then ball into the box. Quite clever, but it just means that Spurs cannot get out centrally.
Yeah, they can't get out at all through the middle of the pitch, and as a result of that, they've given the ball away. Højbjerg guilty party this time. One back by Lewis initially, and then on to Rodri. Out to the left it goes for Nathan Ake, and then on to Grealish, who skates down the touchline, tries to get to the byline. The cross is deflected behind by Emerson Royale, and poor old Jack Grealish just goes careering into a number of camera lenses behind the goal away to our right-hand side. And usually difficult to get a candid picture of Jack Grealish. Oh no, it's not. But that's an extreme close-up, I think, from behind the goal. Corner on the far side to be taken by Riyad Mahrez. Left-footed towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It's headed away by Romero. Comes out to Gundogan, who couldn't get it under control initially, and then just wafted away Kulusevski. It's in by Alvarez, looking for Stones. Away by Højbjerg with a header, but only as far as Gundogan, who sweeps it left. Grealish has got it from Mahrez. It's into Alvarez, left-footed, blocked by Dyer brilliantly on the penalty spot. After a really well-worked Manchester City move, and they kept Tottenham hemmed in. But now Tottenham threatening to counter-attack, and Kulusevski's going over the halfway line. Mahrez has brought him down. He's going to get a yellow card as a result of that, is he?
Yeah, I think I tell you what, we've seen the best of both teams there. The best of City, where they get in that inside channel in behind, cut back to Alvarez, and then he has a shot that's blocked, and then Spurs straight away. Kulusevski down that right hand side drives the ball forward, gets over the halfway line, and in the end he's brought down by Mahrez. But when City are out of shape, when they've got players forward, they're the gaps, and that's obviously what Spurs are going to do. City have put a lot of crosses into the box, not many with that sort of quality that Alvarez got on the end of there, but Dyer did some terrific defending.
Did he use his arms?
I'm not sure he did.
He moved his arms across his body, I think almost like crisscrossed his arms across his body as the ball came into him, and it sort of bounced off his arms and was cleared away, and Pep Guardiola just walks over to the fourth official and did crisscrossed his arms, and he was saying, look, he's used his arms as a tactic to get the ball away there, and even though they were close to his body, should that be a movement which suggests that he used his arms intentionally? Here is Mahrez down the right-hand side trying to skate infield. He's blocked by Perisic this time, and it's put out of play and away for a throw-in.
Yeah, City getting into their rhythm of keeping the ball. Spurs have obviously come here 5-4-1 when they've not got it, try and sit deep, try and squash the space and the lines, trying to stop the passes forward into Alvarez and Haaland, and then when they do get it, get up the pitch quickly, and they'll be pleased that it's 0-0.
City have scored in each of the last 23 Premier League games at the Etihad Stadium. They've scored 77 goals in the process. You would expect them to do so at some point. Rico Lewis has just been fouled, and the City supporters are a little bit disappointed that a yellow card isn't coming out here for Rodrigo Bentancur, who was the perpetrator of that foul, because they're comparing it to the foul that Yuri Mahrez are booking.
Yeah, that not much difference between it both. I think with Mahrez, he was stopping a counter-attack there. I think Bentancur was a little bit late, but you could argue either way.
It's the cynicism that Riyad Mahrez is
yeah.
booking. Here is Akanji, and late tackle by Romero. This time there is going to be a yellow card for Romero, and there is sarcastic applause, not only from the crowd wearing Manchester City blue, but their manager, who's stalking the technical area down in front of us.
Yeah, a little bit rash from Romero there. Akanji, yes, he'd let it just drift away from him, the ball, but it just gives the referee an opportunity to get the yellow card out, and really he didn't need to do that.
It is still 0-0. You're listening to Talk Sport, and it's Manchester City hoping to close the gap on Arsenal. Tottenham trying to get back to winning ways. It's been a very difficult period for Tottenham Hotspur over the course of the last few weeks and months. No surprise that Spurs, who looked laboured against Arsenal, lost on Sunday. They've lost just under a third of all of their games this season, something that Antonio Conte has got to arrest. Here is Gundogan, played in by Grealish. It just nicks off his toes, but he couldn't get it under control, and a chance for Tottenham to break, but that threat of the counter-attack is broken up by Akanji, who read it brilliantly. He's released Alvarez, the Argentine, the World Cup winner, who dabs it to Mahrez, slowing up again Manchester City, just keeping hold of possession as Akanji just darts out between the centre circle and out towards the right side. The ball goes from Rodri into Mahrez, the Algerian looking at Perisic, going on the outside, producing a cross. Perisic deflects it behind. It's away for a corner on this near side, the Manchester City right, 0-0.
Yeah, typical City, trying to suffocate the opposition with possession. You know, they position themselves when they've got the ball, just in case they lose it, and then they counter-press, and they counter-press so well, and Spurs just struggle to get out then.
Here is the corner to be taken on this near side, and Riyad Mahrez is going to take it. It's going to be a left-footed ball in towards the middle of the goal. It's aimed towards Rodri, didn't quite connect with it. Alvarez trying to keep it alive, prodding it forward on the edge of the box, but here comes the counter-attack, and they're outnumbered behind the ball here, Manchester City. But Jack Grealish has come back brilliantly at speed and dived in and nudged the ball out of play and away for a throw-in, and the Etihad certainly appreciated his endeavour there.
Yeah, and that's coming from a City corner, and Son is basically 2v1 in terms of Spurs, but he got himself all the way back, and Son just couldn't get away. He's not really been able to do that this season. Son not playing as well as we normally would see him, stretching defences, but terrific work ethic from Jack Grealish.
Yeah, one of those problems that Spurs have had, and it is a multitude of problems, is the fact that they haven't been able to get Heung-min Son firing. He's only scored or assisted in 4 of his last 17 Premier League appearances this season. Half of his 6 goal involvements this season, 3 of his 4 goals, were a hat-trick in the 6-2 home win against Leicester in September. There has been a significant drop-off in his minutes per goal and assist in the Premier League as well, compared to this time last season. In fact, compared to any Premier League season he's been involved in. Here is Perisic on the left-hand side, a decent ball towards the far post, looking for Harry Kane, who's sizing up a volley, but Ake was there, and he glances the ball behind and away for a corner, and Pep Guardiola is now within touching distance of the 18-yard box away to our left-hand side, shaking his head. He's furious about the space that was afforded there to Perisic to produce that cross.
Yeah, it was a lovely little cross as well. Kane just thought he was going to be able to volley it in, but Ake just watched the cross, got his head to it.
Corner taken short into Perisic, back towards Dyer, and then it's on to Emerson Royale, who balloons the ball over the crossbar from 25 yards. It's Manchester City 0, Tottenham 0 on TalkSport with Now Sports. And don't forget, with Now Sports, you can stream all the Sky Sports action like Manchester City Tottenham live tonight for $11.99, no contract. Search Now Sports.
We were talking about Son, Simon. Quite often he will exceed his expected goals. You know, he's so clinical. He's not doing that. I think it looks like the last few seasons have worn him out. You know, particularly playing international, playing at the World Cup. He didn't really save himself a day. He went into it injured, but Spurs fans would like to see him back to his best.
John Stones has it on halfway for Manchester City, 0-0. City haven't really created too many clear-cut chances in the game. They didn't create enough clear-cut chances in that game against Manchester United at the weekend either. Grealish sends the ball into the box, looking for Haaland, who heads it back across the face of goal. Hooked clear by Bentancur, comes out to Rodri, strikes, taking a deflection, and Hugo Lloris had already dived to his right. The ball deflected to his left. He was lucky that it deflected well out of the way of the goal and out for a corner to Manchester City. They've been the dominant force in the game. They have been a couple of times counter-attacked upon, which has given them pause for thought, but you get the feeling that they are just ramping up the pressure on Tottenham. Yeah,
like you say, Sam, had a lot of possession. He just needs that final ball. There's so many bodies in there with Spurs defending.
Mahrez delivers the ball deep towards the far post. Lloris will punch it clear. Alvarez helps it to Rico Lewis. He controls the ball brilliantly under pressure. Gives it to Grealish. Lovely cross into the box. Kicks into the air by Romero. Haaland coming in at the far post. Didn't really get hold of it. It comes back out to the left, and Alvarez, who jinks his way towards the edge of the box and gets to the byline, produced the cross. Another little deflection takes it out of play, and it's away for a corner on the far side.
Yeah, City are playing a lot more crosses, I've noticed today in this first half. But what Spurs are doing is they're getting to the ball first. They're getting first contacts. They're actually defending crosses very, very well as they come in, and they have to do, because you've got the likes of Haaland lurking, and when it's corners, John Stones, etc.
Tell you what, City will be delighted with that result at Selhurst Park last night. Palace ensuring United didn't start this evening ahead of their rivals in the table. Here is the corner to be taken over on the far side, and Mahrez will deliver it left-footed in towards the near post. Not a great delivery at all, and it's away by Emerson Royale. Hooked further clear on the halfway, on the edge of the 18-yard box, out towards the far side. It goes out for a throw to Manchester City, 6 or 7 yards inside opposition territory, and Ilkay Gundogan will take it. Into Rodri, then back to Gundogan, all the way to Akanji, who slipped in seamlessly initially, and has had to do a lot more maybe than he was expecting when he joined from Borussia Dortmund because of the injury to Ruben Diaz. I must say, I'm sure Pep Guardiola is delighted he's back on the bench tonight. Bentancur with another foul, this time on Rico Lewis. Bentancur's been a little bit lucky not to see himself in the referee's notebook, and Pep Guardiola is now on the pitch. Only just, but he's on the pitch, making that point to Simon Hooper.
Yeah, the ball came into Lewis, and he was very clever. He just chipped the ball over Bentancur, and he had to bring him down, and he's risking it with some of those challenges. You expected a yellow for that one, just for culmination.
Gundogan out towards the far side. Grealish scampering clear behind Romero into the box. Romero dives back in, brilliant tackle. Goes out on the far side and away for a corner to Manchester City. But that was another quick, fast attack from Manchester City. We're not used to seeing that, but it was a brilliant ball from Gundogan. He threaded that through the eye of a needle to find Jack Grealish.
Yeah, Grealish is cheating a little, and what by that I mean that he's just staying a little bit further up the pitch, so when City do win it back on those occasions where Spurs go forward, that he's right on it and running in behind. And I think Spurs are complaining there that perhaps that came off Grealish last.
Well, it is a corner, and Mahrez is going to take it. Better delivery this time. Ake is going to attack it, but Perisic is going to get there first. It's headed away as far as Højbjerg, who's trying to escape over the halfway line, but Rico Lewis has kept it in, and there was a foul by Højbjerg on Rico Lewis, and now Højbjerg is going to be spoken to by the referee, and all the players are gathering on the halfway line. Lewis is suggesting that he has been targeted. Højbjerg's got a yellow card. It's a free kick to Manchester City.
Well, Højbjerg was on the counter there, and Rico Lewis was running back with him, and I think it just stretched away from Højbjerg, and they're saying that he did actually stand on Lewis. Whether he meant to do it or not, I'm not sure, but that's a painful one for Lewis. And I tell you what, the whole of the City bench got up to go and have a word with the fourth official, have a look at the screen as well.
It's amazing watching Manchester City. I mean, that is a that was an inadvertent stamp on the ankle. He didn't mean to do it, did it?
No, he didn't.
There was no intent there, but he just sort of landed on top of the ankle after a really good challenge from Rico Lewis. But watching Manchester City is absolutely fascinating, isn't it? Because they play in two different formations, really, don't they? It's 4-4-2 when they haven't got the ball. When they have got the ball, it's almost as if they're playing 3 at the back, 4 in midfield, and 2 up front. It's been a really interesting opening first 32 minutes of this Premier League encounter. Manchester City 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0. They're just trying something a little bit different, Manchester City, tonight.
Yeah, they are. They're mixing it up, that's all I would say. You know, they're not doing what they normally do, what teams expect them to do, and just be slow all the time in terms of the build-up. You know, when they do have a chance and Spurs commit forward, then they attack the spaces with 1 or 2 passes forward, and it's nearly come off. And you know, Spurs will have to defend well all night to keep City out, but it's interesting to see. He's obviously just trying to find solutions, Guardiola.
Indeed. Here is Emerson Royale into Kane. Kane trying to play the ball out towards the right-hand side. He tries to swing the ball in towards Heung-min Son. It's clipped away by Stones and out over on the far side.
Yeah, a lot of the time, Akanji and Stones, 2 centre-backs for City, are just basically left by themselves, but I think Guardiola trusts them, that 1v1 duels, that he's quite happy that they'll defend well, but it's a risk when you've got the likes of Kane and Son up there.
Thrown over on the far side to be taken by Emerson Royale. Looked like a foul throw, but it's in towards Kulusevski. He's looking to turn past Ake, doesn't manage to do that. They're into the penalty area, Tottenham on the left-hand side. Crossed by Kane in towards Son, handed away by Stones, who watched it well, and then Gundogan plays it against Emerson Royale, out for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. That middle 4, that sort of join with Lewis and Rodri in the centre, Gundogan just ahead of them. Then you've got Mahrez one side, Grealish the other, Alvarez and Haaland going forward. It does leave you the possibility of getting counter-attacked upon if you are that back 3, but there is some speed in that back line as well. Ake has been particularly good, I think, since coming into the team, and he is another one who I don't think that Pep Guardiola was expecting to use week in, week out this season, but this is his 5th Premier League start in a row.
Yeah, I mean, they're very structured when they get the ball. I think the Spanish call it rest defence. Basically, they're in a position when they've got it, knowing that if they lose it, that they can win it back straight away, and that's what they trust. And if that doesn't happen, then the 2 centre-backs are athletic and can defend well 1v1. So they have it off to a tee. They just need to get that last creative bit right, particularly when teams are defending deep, denying space in behind like Spurs do.
Here is Ederson. Back inside his own half. 0-0 the score, 34 minutes on the clock. It's clipped up towards Alvarez, who nudges it back towards John Stones. Then Rico Lewis into Mahrez. Mahrez being pursued by Perisic, and then Lewis is just a little bit short there from Mahrez's pass, and he had to stretch to reach that. Kane was shutting him down, and Manchester City looking to bring it out from the back once again. Not a great bit of play from Akanji. He's given that away cheaply. Bentancur has then swept it out to the right side. Kane, Romero, and then on to Emerson Royale's delivery into the box comes off Akanji. It goes out, and it's going to be a corner kick to Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, a little bit sloppy at the back there from Manchester City. They gave the ball away in the midfield, and because Spurs had players forward, and they could straight away direct it wide, and Spurs get themselves a corner.
Perisic will take it. Romero, Kane, Ben Davis, Eric Dyer, Son and Bentancur inside the penalty area. Away to our left-hand side. Left arm in the air from the Croatian Ivan Perisic. It's swung right underneath the goalkeeper, who's mishandled that actually. It slipped out of his hands. It was cleared eventually by Manchester City, and Emerson Royale will turn it back to his goalkeeper on halfway. But there was just a little hint of vulnerability there from Ederson, usually so good when he comes out for crosses like that. That ball over the top was just caught out Ake. Perisic coming forward for Tottenham. They're on the right here as we approach the final 10 minutes of the first half. Into Højbjerg, who's looking to open up the space to get a shot away. Kane with a reverse ball. Davis with a cross into the box. Son with a header straight into the arms of Ederson. He had no power in the effort, Heung-min Son, but it was a really well-worked move from Tottenham Hotspur after City saw the ball turned over their heads.
And there's an overlap from Davis in that inside channel. Gets a little ball. It's a cute little ball over the top as well. I don't think Son could quite get enough on it, and it touched Ake as well before it got to Ederson. Just took the sting off the header.
And Tottenham Hotspur, whose first half statistics tell you that they do not score many goals before the 45-minute mark. Have just created one or two chances in this first half that might just concern Pep Guardiola. Their attacking stats have seen a serious decline, Manchester City's, in the last 9 Premier League games. I mentioned it earlier on. When you compare it to their first 9 Premier League games, 33 goals scored in the first 9, only 13 scored in the second 9 of the season. Here on the right hand side, Kulusevski moves into the box. He's got Kane inside the area. He's trying to take it round 4 defenders. Eventually one of those Gundogan turns and tucks it out towards the near side, but it's Perisic who picks it up. He runs down the left. It's on to Højbjerg. Højbjerg into the centre, and Bentancur, who moves up towards the edge of the 18-yard box before giving it back to Højbjerg, who's on the left side for Tottenham Hotspur. 0-0 the score. Out on the right is Emerson Royal, found by Eric Dyer, and then Royal exchanges passes with Bentancur before Ake sweeps in and nudges the ball behind. It's away for another corner to Spurs.
Yeah, a little bit of sustained pressure from Spurs. They've committed players forward, but they're just a little bit loose in possession at the back. It's as if they lose concentration. You know, they've not got the goals. Spurs fans will be happy that their team's not conceded, but you know, while ever it's 0-0 here, Spurs will think they've got a chance to get a goal in this first half.
Yeah, and Haaland, once again, who hasn't had a shot on target in 3 games, has hardly had a sniff again tonight. And it's Tottenham who are coming forward. 38 minutes on the clock. Away to our left, the corner comes in. It's right-footed by Perisic and towards Ben Davies. Haaland did get the first head on that, and then it bounces behind Grealish and back to the goalkeeper, and City are urged to come forward a little bit faster. They don't do that. Ederson holds on to the ball, bowls it out to John Stones, and they will look to build from the back. Clipped over the top for Alvarez. It's going to bypass Højbjerg. The hand goes up for offside from Højbjerg. In fact, it's a handball, I think, that's given in the end against Julian Alvarez, and it's going to be a free kick just in front of the 18-yard box. Well, another conundrum to solve for Pep Guardiola. He was saying in his press conference yesterday, whenever there are bad results, there's always calls for Pep out. I'm not entirely sure I've ever heard that.
Definitely not.
But you know, he doesn't mind sort of over-egging the pudding every now and again. But he says he wants Pep in. He wants to stay. But he knows that he has to win matches in order for that to happen. Well, they're not winning this one yet, are they?
Well, they're not. But you know that they're getting in good positions. It's just that final ball.
Grealish trying to get up to the edge of the area. Lewis is giving it. He shoots, right-footed, save brilliantly down to his left after a deflection from Hugo Lloris. Really good stop by the French goalkeeper after Lewis executed a firecracker from the edge of the area, which took a flick on the way through. Rodrigo gets it now in the middle of the park. He plays it out to the left. It's collected by Ake. Manchester City almost making the breakthrough here at the Etihad 5-6 minutes before half-time. It's on to Lewis, who looks to try and backheel it into the path of Mahrez, and then Højbjerg escapes with the ball. It comes through to Alvarez. There's a bit of harassment for Højbjerg, and the referee calls a halt to proceedings and gives a free kick in favour of Tottenham Hotspur. But what a save that was from Hugo Lloris, because that did take a significant deflection.
It did. I'll tell you what, Rico Lewis is doing everything. He's defending, he's passing, and he gets the ball. It comes to him on the edge of the area, and he has a shot deflected. Actually, Lloris did really well.
What a fantastic save that was, because it did take a really big chunk of a deflection off a defender on the way through. But boy, is this right fullback a real player, Rico Lewis. He really has influenced proceedings in this match. He's been very productive down the right side, wandering into midfield and adding an extra body into the Manchester City midfield area.
He shouldn't be their main player, Sam, and he is their main player. City, you know, he's doing everything. You know, he's getting himself in that central midfield area, in that box with Rodri, Gundogan and Alvarez, but also he's defending well. He's been fouled a lot, and he's had probably the best shot all game.
Joined Manchester City at the age of 8. His sister Sasha also plays in Manchester City's academy. He was the captain of the under-18s team that won the league title last season, and he's been highly productive in this game. And as you say, you know, when they've spent the best part of the GDP of a small country over the course of the last few years, he shouldn't be the one that's pulling the strings.
Yeah, but it is brilliant that a young kid has come on, absolutely no fear. You know, he trusts the technicality that he's got. He knows how to play. He knows how to play in this system, and he's trusted by Pep. And I think he's one of the main part of this squad.
Well, he will be. I mean, he's only just recently sort of broke into the team, really. His first Premier League start was in the 3-1 win over Leeds. Here's Haaland breaking the lines, getting in behind the defence, trying to take on the goalkeeper Lloris. He comes out and then sort of clumsily bundles into Haaland. Haaland goes down looking for a penalty. The referee says no. But that was the first real sign I've seen of Haaland getting in behind the defence, breaking the line, but they're not really looking as confident as he usually does.
Well, everybody's talking about him, Sam, that's why. So you've just got to blank that out. It's a good run, and he gets in between the centre-backs, takes a touch. He's probably not the best, but Lloris is out really, really quick. But it's mad, as the ball sort of ricochets up in the air, when Lloris reaches up for it, actually Haaland jumps higher than Lloris can actually jump himself with his hands. So I don't think it was a foul. I think he slipped afterwards, Haaland.
0-0. And you're listening to TalkSport with Car Finance 24/7. Search Car Finance 24/7 today. Ball swung out towards the right side. Misjudgment by Ben Davies. Picked up by Mahrez, who's gone into the area. He set it out for Rodri, who stinged it up for Haaland, who gets there ahead of the goalkeeper, and it's over the bar. Goalkeeper came flying out, got nowhere near it. Haaland did, but couldn't control the header enough to bring it down under the crossbar. It just went narrowly over the top. But it all started after a misjudgment from Ben Davies, who got caught under the ball. Mahrez picked it up, set up Rodri, perfect cross, and Haaland will feel like he could have hit the target there.
I tell you what, that's the first time in this first half that Spurs haven't defended properly. They've not had things in front of them and managing a cross as well. A little clip from Rodri and got to it first, but it was underneath it, Haaland, probably a little bit close to goal.
You get the feeling that it might not be too long before he gets another goal. He has gone 3 without one. It's his 13th home appearance of the campaign. He is very comfortable here. He's scored 18 goals in those 13 home appearances. There is a problem for Akanji on the far side. He's just been knocked to the floor. He's back on his feet again now after, well, he was wrestling with Harry Kane initially, and Kane's elbow just came up and caught him in the chin as Kane was trying to escape his grasp.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether I thought at first the referee had given a free kick, but he hasn't. I think it's really because it was a facial injury. He's given it back, the ball to Lloris.
Yes, uncontested drop ball on the edge of the 18-yard box, which Lloris has picked up, and Tottenham will be able to clear as we approach the final minute of the first half on TalkSport. Remember, tomorrow morning, Alan and Ray Parlour back together discussing all the fallout to this game on the breakfast show from 6 a.m. Tomorrow night, live championship football on TalkSport 2. We've got a huge game day on Saturday. Oh, that's a mistake, giving the ball away by Ederson. It comes back towards the edge of the area, and Kulusevski has punished Tottenham Hotspur, punished Manchester City with a goal for Tottenham Hotspur on the stroke of half-time. Ederson's made a huge error. Pep Guardiola sinks to his knees, and Manchester City have conceded right at the end of the first half. And it's a rare Tottenham Hotspur first half goal, but it's a massive, massive gift from Ederson.
Yeah, he passes the ball out to the edge of the area, and you cannot give your centre-back it there because he had a man right on his back, pressed well. Kulusevski kept his head, and it's actually quite a tame shot really, and goes underneath Ederson, but just a little bit sloppy. We talked earlier on in the first half about Manchester City being sloppy at the back, just a little bit loose in possession, and I think that absolutely mirrors everything that they've done, but Spurs punish them.
Well, 30 seconds before the break, and with 2 minutes of added time to tag on to the first 45, Manchester City have shot themselves in the foot. Ederson's ball to Rodri was a poor one. He couldn't steer it away. They were being pressed by Tottenham Hotspur, and now they have to come from behind. And the omens actually are quite good for Spurs when they score first this season. They are unbeaten in 7 games when scoring first this campaign. The only points that they've dropped from winning positions are the 2 they dropped against West Ham United at the end of August. They're pretty good to holding on to a lead.
Yeah, and they've stayed in this game even though that they haven't had the majority of possession, Spurs, and they've chose the moments to commit players forward really, really well, defended well, and they've got a goal that they probably don't particularly deserve, but they did really well for it.
John Stones and Harry Kane are in a foot race now to try and counter-attack in front of the goal away to our left, and Kulusevski's picked up the pieces after a half clearance. Kane's trying to keep it alive inside the area. He does brilliantly. He sends the ball across the face of goal. It comes back and it's headed in by Emerson Royale, and it's another goal for Tottenham Hotspur. And Tottenham are turning on at the Etihad once again. And for once the whole of North London is celebrating a Spurs goal. It's Manchester City 0, Tottenham Hotspur 2. Emerson Royale finishes the move. Harry Kane had a big part in it. And Pep Guardiola and City are stunned.
I can't believe it. I think most people in this stadium can't believe it. Again, sloppy. They don't clear the ball well. It's too easy for Spurs to get themselves in front of goal, and he slides in, because it actually wasn't a good pass into Harry Kane, but he slides in and then he tries to shoot against Ederson. He comes back out to Royale and he just heads it in. You know what? There's an audible gasp in here. It's just the Spurs fans in the corner that are celebrating. Nobody can believe it, and that is just, they sensed, Spurs, that if they just leave a couple of players forwards to try and press, they're actually winning the ball quite high, and City have just got nobody at the back and are sloppy. Incredible.
Absolutely astounding end to the first half. An end to the first half which is reminiscent of the end to the end of the game last year between these two. There's boos at the Etihad at half-time for Manchester City, who are trailing by 2-0. Kulusevski and Emerson Royale with the goals. Well, since the start of the 2019-20 season, no team has taken more points off Manchester City than Spurs. So maybe we shouldn't be surprised, because they are threatening to be City's irritant again. At half-time, it's Manchester City 0, Tottenham 2. Thanks, Hugh. Yeah, welcome back to the commentary box, where we have been mulling over all sorts during the course of the half-time break. Erling Haaland gets us off and underway in a blue shirt with white shorts and blue socks like the rest of the Manchester City players, attacking the goal away to our left. Tottenham Hotspur in white shorts and navy blue shorts, attacking the ball at the goal away to our right hand side, and it's hooked out by Emerson Royale under pressure from Jack Grealish in the first few seconds of the second half. Manchester City have got Ederson in goal. It's a back four of Lewis, Akanji, Stones and Ake, Gundogan and Rodri, then Grealish and Mahrez flanking Alvarez and Haaland in attack. For Tottenham Hotspur, in their traditional home colours, Hugo Lloris is their goalkeeper, Romero has been booked, Dyer and Ben Davis the back three, Emerson Royale, Bentancur, Højbjerg has been booked, Perisic behind Kulusevski, Son and Harry Kane, who leads the line. And you should expect goals in the second half. Manchester City have conjured up 24 second half goals, the only team that has scored more than that in the Premier League so far this season. The second half, Lucy, what do you reckon?
Go on.
Tottenham Hotspur. 27. How do Manchester City get themselves out of this jam?
Well, I mean, Pep Guardiola will trust the 11 that are on the pitch just to perform better, to be a little bit more clinical at one end of the pitch and not make the mistakes. And they can't afford to make any more defensive mistakes, that's for sure. You can't go 3-0 down here. But you know, and everybody in here knows, that Manchester City can score goals. But I think Spurs have been really resilient in the way that they're set up defensively, which obviously the way that Conte likes to play. He's a master at that. He has to defend. This 11 for Spurs know exactly what to do.
Ball is out on the right side with Riyad Mahrez. He finds Gundogan inside the area, tries to pull off a back heel which doesn't quite work its way to Alvarez because it was blocked by Bentancur, taken out by Perisic far side. It goes out for a throw in to Manchester City in the right wing position. Pep Guardiola obviously has won a lot of football matches. He's won a lot of titles and trophies with Manchester City, as Alvarez comes forward and flashes a ball right through the middle of the 18-yard box away to our left. It goes out of play. But do you think he knows his best first 11 at the moment? That's
the thing. When you've got an embarrassment of riches, and it is all about, he has two types of player: the control players that maintain the tempo, and then he's got his disrupted players, the attacking players, and it's about the balance. And I don't think he's quite got that right, but he's got that many to choose from. Sometimes it's a mathematical puzzle.
Tottenham Hotspur lead by 2 goals to 0 here on Talk Sport, and they're coming forward on the counter-attack again. And the idea of having that extra body in midfield, Enrico Lewis, when they are in control of the ball, seems a very good one until they lose it and they are exposed at the back and then hit on the counter-attack, and that's happened to them on a couple of occasions here. The first goal, let's not put that down too much to Tottenham's counter-attacking. That was a sloppy error by the goalkeeper and high press which came off for Tottenham Hotspur. That was just a stupid error from the goalkeeper. But the second one, that was because they were left exposed at the back. They were outnumbered by bodies, and Harry Kane, Kulusevski and the like wanted it a little bit more. Yeah, I think, your key there, Sam, wanted it a little bit more. I do think that even the Spurs players didn't think they were going to score that second goal, because they just thought, we're second best here to get to this ball. And then Harry Kane gets to it, has a shot, and it comes off, and Royale heads the ball in. But even then, I'm not so sure that Spurs were confident they were going to score it, and City basically laid it on the plate. There's so many things that went wrong in that passage of play, from them losing it high up the pitch to not defending well when it gets in their half, City. Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden amongst those warming up away to our left-hand side. Foden and Matt Doherty have just had a little hug and a handshake away to our left-hand side. And the ball has gone all the way back to Edison, away to our right. You're listening to Talk Sport, where it remains Manchester City 0, Tottenham Hotspur 2. On Talk Sport with Now Sports, and don't forget, with a Now Sports subscription you can stream all the live action, including Manchester City versus Tottenham, live right now for $11.99 without a contract. Search Now Sports. Here is Akanji, just up to the halfway line, plays it left to Ake. Ake now moving towards the edge of the pitch on this near side, and almost actually went through the side of Antonio Conte when diving to try and keep the ball in on this near touch line. See, you're watching Spurs now. This is the position that Spurs want to be in games, where they're not chasing going into the second half. Now, the way that City are playing to their hands, they'll sit, they'll defend like they have done, they'll sit deep, and then they'll look to counter and try and get that third goal. And City know that. The onus is on City to score a goal. Spurs just have to make sure that they defend well. It is perfect for Spurs. This is how they like to play. And it hasn't happened enough times this season, as far as Spurs fans are concerned. They're basically in control of this game because they've defended well. A City fan came up to me at half-time and said they hadn't scored a goal in the first half for 6 matches until they'd come here, and then we've given them 2. That's how they feel. Here's Rico Lewis trying to come forward towards the edge of the area. Riyad Mahrez takes it on. He dances past the challenger Perisic, sets it up for Gundogan, right forward to Grealish, punched away, comes back to Alvarez. They're back in the game now. He volleys it in from 6 yards out. Manchester City on the score sheet. Hasn't taken long since the restart after half-time. Julian Alvarez gets his 9th goal of the season, and it could be a crucial one. Yeah, and this is what City need to do. Overload Spurs at the back, and Mahrez gets past defending really easily, and they actually defended crosses really well, but Lloris comes out, gets something on it. Mahrez, really clever footwork, puts the ball in a dangerous area. Perisic defends it really well, but I think Lloris coming out, and he just dived for it and tried to punch it away, and it just makes it so easy for Alvarez to put in the back of the net. Not the best decision from the goalkeeper again. Well, he came out to try and smother a Jack Grealish effort, didn't he? But although he did the initial job, he stopped Grealish from scoring. He actually didn't have any plan of what was going to happen next. Yeah, he either needed to get hold of it or punch it far away, and in the end he just laid it on the plate for Alvarez. So really all 3 goals tonight have been laid on the plate for the opposition. Well, Tottenham lead by 2 goals to 1, but Manchester City have got the bit between their teeth. And those fans who booed Manchester City at half-time are certainly not booing now. I'm not being funny, but booing City, you know that they're going to come out and respond, but that's what they needed. That was the response they needed, a goal quickly. Grealish into the area, tries to flick it onto Gundogan, goes round the corner. Oh, Hugo Lloris came skating out, sliding across the turf. He almost lost it out of his grasp, and Gundogan was there to try and get hold of it, didn't quite catch it. And Hugo Lloris has bought it clear. 2-1 to Tottenham Hotspur here at the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City certainly look like they've got the bit between their teeth. They've won it high up inside Tottenham territory once again. It's picked up by Julian Alvarez, who's dropped into the number 10 position. He's trying to play it out wide to the right. Riyad Mahrez gets hold of it now. He jinks infield, gives it to Rodri. Rodri with a clip over the top. Mahrez is incoming with a header. Haaland is there. It's 2-2. It's only taken 8 minutes of the second half. Manchester City are back in it. They're back all square. And Haaland once again making himself at home at the Etihad. 3 games without a goal, but you ain't going to keep him quiet for long. Where's the booing now? Pep Guardiola complains to the supporters in the front row at the Etihad Stadium. He's saying, just minutes ago you were booing. What are you saying now?
Listen, I don't blame him, Sam. I don't blame him, because this is a team that have been terrific for the past few seasons, so you can forgive him a couple of defensive mistakes.
Here they come again. Alvarez trying to come forward on the edge of the area. He picks it up and plays it to Rodri. Relentless Manchester City pressure. They bullied Tottenham Hotspur since the start of this second period. They've come from 2-0 down to 2-2 in a blink of an eye.
Do you know what they've done, Sam? They've overloaded that back line of Spurs. They've got in. The full-backs have been supporting the wide players, Mahrez and Grealish, and they've managed to get in behind. And momentum is a massive thing in football. When it switches to the other side, there's just no stopping teams.
That pendulum has certainly swung now into Lewis, edge of the area. He plays it on to Alvarez. Alvarez trying to get beyond the defender. He pulls it across the face of the 6-yard box, and this time Lloris can drop on it inside that 6-yard box and clear it away. Well, Manchester City were 2-0 down on the stroke of half-time. They've come out in the second half. All the goals have been scored in a 15-minute window either side of the break.
Absolutely breathless this game to watch, and City have come out firing.
And Grealish has won it back again, now inside the area. He goes to the left, he pulls it through the box. Højbjerg is there to intervene before it can reach Gundogan, but they're swarming all over Tottenham Hotspur, who are melting here in the heat of the Etihad Stadium.
Completely on the ropes now, Spurs. They need to stand up the experienced players.
Here comes Rodri into the area. He plays it to his left. It was a blind pass which is picked off by Kulusevski, and he manages to get it clear. And then Højbjerg gives it away again, and Manchester City have it once again on the edge of the box, and Mahrez tries a shot, right-footed. It's narrowly wide of the left-hand upright. Hugo Lloris went sprawling to his left. He was completely unsure as to whether or not that was nestling past him into the corner. It was well struck by Mahrez. It wasn't too far away.
Absolutely. Instead of curling it inwards, he just leathered it and it spun outwards. And as far as Lloris is concerned, I think he thought that was going past him. But as far as Spurs need to connect some passes, take the sting out of this Manchester City momentum.
Well, they can't string 2 or 3 passes together at the moment, Tottenham Hotspur. Manchester City just consistently winning the ball back, high up the field, turning it over and applying pressure on the Tottenham back line, which is wilting, which is shaking, which is creaking.
Yeah, the counter-press of City is more like, it's more organised. They're winning it in good areas and putting Spurs under pressure, and it just means that City's centre-backs are not exposed. So that's the way Guardiola works. Push the players forward even more. Make overloads against Spurs' back line, and it's worked twice very, very quickly.
I'll tell you what, I'd be fascinated to speak to Pep Guardiola after the game. We'll do that in the Sports Bar live tonight. We'll ask him what he thought about those boos at half-time. I think we're pretty clear that we've got a good idea, bearing in mind that he has complained to the crowd already. When that second goal went in and they all cheered, he turned around and almost said to him, you haven't got the right to celebrate after what you did.
Do you know what? I mean, as a manager, you've just got to probably let those things pass, but I don't blame him for being fuming, because his team have done so well. Yes, they were disappointing. Yes, they were sloppy in the first half, but they've always got it in. They've got goals in this team. They've always got it in them, that turn round in their favour.
Simon Hooper has just stopped the game because of a head injury to Kulusevski. There was a challenge by Ake. It wasn't a great challenge at all, actually. It was late, it was high, and he caught him from behind. Kulusevski actually was down for quite some time, and Simon Hooper had to stop the game when City were on the attack, which is why the Manchester City fans weren't happy about it. But Ake was actually a little bit lucky not to get sanctioned there.
I think that the referee had already turned which way the ball was going and missed the late challenge, but I'm sure he had it in his ear from the referees of VAR about it.
Well, Pep's having a cuddle now with the fourth official, who is David Coote on the near touchline. They're all laughing and joking now down in the technical area. They weren't 6 or 7 minutes ago. At half-time, it was Manchester City 0, Tottenham 2. It's now 2-2 on TalkSport. What a fascinating game this has turned out to be.
Well, what Spurs need to think, Sam, is that they are still in it. Yes, they're back to the wall. Yes, they're against the ropes, but they've got to defend the next 5 or 10 minutes, connect some passes and try and get themselves up the pitch, because City are absolutely swarming all over them.
Alvarez prods the ball forward, cut out by Ben Davies this time, and it's picked up on the halfway line by Tottenham Hotspur. Højbjerg just meanders forward, plays it wide towards the left, and it's collected now by Ivan Perisic. It's Manchester City 2, Tottenham Hotspur 2. You're live on TalkSport, and tomorrow night we've got live action for you from the Championship. Saturday's game day, Championship action on 2, whilst we're bringing you Liverpool-Chelsea at 12:30. Good tuck round the corner by Harry Kane onto Kulusevski. He moves up towards the edge of the area, gets down past the defender, pulls it through the box. It comes towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It's clattered by Perisic. It hits the top of the crossbar. There might have been a save there by the goalkeeper, or a deflection as the shot was taken by Perisic, but it reared up onto the crossbar, and that Manchester City goal let a charmed life. Another Tottenham counter-attack and a massive chance for Perisic.
I'll tell you what, Kulusevski did so well on this right-hand side. It's a good cross, and he was on his own, Perisic, and I'm not sure whether it was Rico Lewis got something on it and it spun away and hit the crossbar, and Spurs unlucky, and that gives Spurs that little bit of positivity that they can get behind City again, because City are committing a lot of players forward, but the spaces are there. But I think since the start of the second half, they've not managed to get hold of it very, very much, Spurs.
16 minutes on the clock. We've hit the hour mark. It's 2-2 on TalkSport. What an opportunity for Spurs. Again, Kane providing a brilliant little pivot and turn and playing the ball down the right side into the path of Kulusevski. He dragged that through the box. It did, I think, it hit both Lewis and the goalkeeper after it was hit by Perisic. It reared up off the legs of Ederson and into the meat of the crossbar, and it was eventually cleared away by Manchester City. But a warning that they ain't going to have it all their own way.
Absolutely. I mean, City have come out, the best form of defending is pushing more players forward. That's how Guardiola looks at it. And the full-backs, Lewis and Ake on this left-hand side, have supported the attack more, and that allowed City to get enough players forward to score the 2 goals. However, still leaves that space, so it's still a little bit dangerous.
Here is Bentancur for Tottenham coming forward. Tackle comes in. Mahrez wins it back this time, and now City have possession once again. Manchester City's only win in the last 6 meetings with a 3-0 home victory back in February 2021. Rodri, Gundogan scoring twice on the score sheet for Manchester City. And they've come from 2-0 down to level things up at 2-2 here. They're threatening to go in front with Mahrez on the right side. Runs up towards Perisic, gets pulled back by Perisic. The referee allows play on. Rodri, who's got a man on shout from the crowd, who seems to be onside again now, moves the ball forward, plays it out to the right. Rico Lewis takes it on. He moves up against Perisic in the right wing position for Manchester City. They're on the attack here. The cross from Mahrez into the centre is headed away by Ben Davies. It drops on the edge of the box, and now Bentancur pokes it forward into the path of Heung-min Son, and Son races away up over the halfway line. Kulusevski is peeled out to the right. He's got his hand up wanting a crossfield ball. Kane trying to spot that, switches it to Højbjerg, who now in turn works it to Kulusevski, and the Swede meanders up towards the edge of the area. He cuts in left-footed, plays it across to Kane, in space on the edge of the box, a shot which is dragged through the 6-yard box and goes narrowly wide.
I'll tell you what, my first thought there was that City had left Harry Kane completely unmarked on the edge of the area, but his shot wasn't equal to what we usually see. But Rico Lewis, I think you were right, Sam, that it hit Rico Lewis, that shot from Perisic, and then hit the goalkeeper, but he's probably been their best player. But just a little bit different at times now. Full-back coming from behind the ball and supporting the wide player.
Lucy Ward, the former Leeds women's striker, is with us tonight, watching this intense thriller-minute Premier League game.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant, particularly the last bit of the first half, the start of the second half.
Cracking encounter between Manchester City and Tottenham. Here on the near touchline is Jack Grealish, who is in terrific form right now. He plays the ball infield towards Ake and then on to Rodri. Rodri swirls the ball towards the far touchline. Perisic was sold by Mahrez. Lovely touch. Moves into the area. Goes past Davies. Sends it into the far corner. And City have come from behind to lead at the Etihad by 3 goals to 2. A terrific finish from Mahrez. Wonderful touch at the beginning of the move to set it up after taking in Rodri's pass. They were 2-0 down at half-time, but Riyad Mahrez has got the latest of their goals, and now it's Manchester City 3, Tottenham Hotspur 2.
I'll tell you what, Perisic has had one for all 3 goals there. He tried to dive in and win the ball and get up the pitch, and it allowed Mahrez. Now Mahrez has just added a touch of magic in this second half. He's been involved in all of the goals, and he just sneaked it in to Lloris's near post. In between Lloris, it got a little bit of a deflection which took it past Lloris, but really unfortunate there for the Spurs goalkeeper. But I tell you what, Mahrez has been fantastic in his second half.
Alvarez, Haaland, and now Mahrez. And from a position where they were being booed off at half-time by the Etihad crowd, Manchester City, within 20 minutes of the restart, lead by 3 goals to 2. I told you they were the comeback kings.
This has been out of breath watching it, but I just think that it's actually City going back to basics. The fullback supporting the wide play allows Mahrez to play. He's been fantastic in this second half. He's been getting in behind the wing-backs of Spurs, and they've not been able to defend the crosses, and Conte is looking slightly perplexed on the side of the pitch, and Nicholas can't believe what he's seen either.
Well, it's been a tough time to be a Spurs fan since the resumption after the World Cup break. Antonio Conte's side have struggled to get their engine started. They were gifted 2 goals in this game, and they just haven't been able to hold on to it. And going further back, that defence has been a real problem. They have now shipped 20 goals in their last 10 Premier League games.
I mean, if you're scoring loads of goals, they are scoring away from home, but conceding as well. I thought they did all right in the first half, but then as soon as City stepped up a gear in this second half, then they've had absolutely no answer. But I think Spurs will just hang their hat on that. Perhaps if they can just get the ball forward again when they counter, they do look dangerous at times. They could have got the 3rd goal themselves had it not been for Rico Lewis blocking Perisic's shot. But Perisic will wonder if he's doing something really unlucky at half-time. He's having one now.
Gundogan out towards the near touchline. Grealish brings it down. He takes on Emerson Royale. He gets it onto his right foot, produces a decent cross towards the far post. A little bit too high for Haaland. And he goes floating out and away for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. But Tottenham Hotspur were 2-0 up in this game. And at half-time, it looked like it was going to take a monumental effort for Manchester City to drag themselves back into the game, let alone try and steal 3 points from it. But they have come out in the second half so ruthless, so rampant, full of intensity, full of creativity that they lacked in that first period, and they now lead by 3 goals to 2.
I love that though, Sam, because the crowd booed at half-time, the defensive mistake, so therefore you think, they're going to come out in the second half and be better, a little bit more solid defensively. Well, they absolutely did the opposite and got the 2 goals quickly, and then the 3rd goal, and all of a sudden switch this game. But you have to be brave to do that, and I suppose where else are you going to be brave but at home when you're the champions.
Ball cleared by Lloris out towards the far side. Rodri turns the ball back towards halfway. Stones, Rodri, now Rico Lewis again. Tottenham Hotspur chasing shadows at the moment. And again, you mentioned Perisic having a difficult time for the goals, the 3 goals that City have scored in this second half, but it's the wing-back areas that have been such an issue for Tottenham over the course of the season.
He nearly got the 3rd goal before City got the 3rd goal, Perisic, and he's strong on set pieces, his crossing's good, but they're the most important position in a Conte team. They have to attack like a forward and they have to defend like a full-back. And there's not many of them in world football, particularly playing at this level. And Sessegnon looks like he's going to come on, and I think that's just putting Perisic out of his misery, to be honest.
That was a move that I think we were expecting, as Dyer gives the ball away on the edge of his own penalty area after being harassed by Alvarez. Grealish has got it on the left side. He produces a cross, which is defended well by Emerson Royal. Ake wins it though from Kulusevski, who goes back at him, and then Ake drags him down. It's going to be a free kick, and the substitution will be able to be taken place now. Down in front of us, the fourth official, David Coote, allows Perisic to be replaced by Sessegnon, and Ryan Sessegnon comes on to try and help stem the flow of attacks down that right side that have come from Riyad Mahrez, who is in brilliant form. It's his 150th start today for Manchester City, and I mentioned that all 8 of his goals this season have come in the last 13 appearances. Well, it's 9 in 14 now.
Yeah, what he's done, Sam, particularly this second half, is been, as soon as he's got the ball, he's faced up the defender and he's dribbled quickly with intensity and aggression, and he's got his rewards, Mahrez.
Rico Lewis in the centre of midfield for Manchester City, who lead by 3-2. Live on TalkSport tonight with Car Finance 24/7. Search Car Finance 24/7 today. 20 minutes to go. The damage could get worse for Tottenham Hotspur, who have been blown apart in this second 45. Here is Ake over to the left. Now Grealish, who rather elegantly moves infield. Gundogan round the corner looking for Haaland. There was a few in this stand, the Colin Bell stand that we're sitting in the lower tier, that jumped up thinking that Haaland was going to race in on goal after that little reverse pass from Gundogan, but it was just a difficult angle for Haaland to get hold of, and Emerson Royal was able to tidy up.
Gundogan's just pushed himself a little bit forward, engaging I think it's Romero mostly.
Here he is
again,
causes
problems
on the ball, combining with Grealish, trying to play it infield. It's cut away by Bentancur. Kane harassed by Akanji, won by Akanji. Kane ends up on the floor. City have it back again. Gundogan onto Lewis. Lewis takes it on. He's within 10 yards of the 18-yard box, attacking the goal away to our left. City moving the ball with a slickness and a smoothness that they weren't necessarily doing in the first half, at a speed which Tottenham just can't keep up with right now.
Yeah, Guardiola's team are all about control. However, they do it usually through possession, but particularly in the second half, it's been through intensity.
Gundogan wanted a foul, didn't go his way, picked up by Bentancur, who slides down the side of the centre circle and just funnels it out towards the right. Kulusevski back into Bentancur, and then Gundogan runs in, frustration showing, has a nibble at Bentancur, and it's going to be a free kick, and Simon Hooper was very quick to blow his whistle.
He didn't really need to do that, Gundogan, then. And again, the referee turned and followed the ball and just heard the shouts, and saw the heat that Bentancur was on the floor, and so a set pieces is a chance for Tottenham. What City don't want to do is give them any sort of encouragement that they can get another goal.
Well, it's 3-2 and we still got 19 minutes left, so we could probably have another 3 or 4 goals between now and the end of the night. Tottenham Hotspur haven't scored a second half goal yet, and they usually do. They've scored 27 over the course of the season, which is now the same number of second half goals that Manchester City have scored. Here is Son into Kane inside the area. Oh, he's hit the ball goalwards, but he did handball it. It popped up onto his arm. And it was a good idea for a free kick, and it almost caught out Manchester City. And in fact, it would have been a real opportunity for for Tottenham Hotspur had Harry Kane not have controlled that with his arm.
Yeah, I mean, he got a load of space there, touched it with his right foot, and it just skipped up, hit his hand, and obviously if he scores there, it's going to be disallowed. The referee saw the handball anyway.
It just shows, though, there are still holes there to be found for Tottenham Hotspur. It is not an impenetrable back line, Manchester City's.
Absolutely not. You know, I would say they've taken even more risks in this second half, so it's there for Tottenham if they can get hold of the ball, which is easier said than done.
Yeah, and it's certainly not been happening much in this second half. Here's Alvarez going out to the far touchline. Sessegnon's followed in there. Back infield to Lewis, and then control from Manchester City comes in the shape of Rodri, the big, tall, imposing central midfield player who's had the most touches and passes in the Premier League this season. Here goes Grealish, and the excitement goes up every time he gets hold of the ball at the moment, because he's working so much harder for Manchester City and he is darting into space. He is controlling the ball well. He's being threatening on the ball. He's willing to take on players again, and it's much better watching Jack Grealish in this mode.
Yeah, I think he's a lot more comfortable in his shoes at Manchester City now. I think it took him a while to settle in, for not being the main man anymore and being part of a well-oiled machine that is Manchester City, and he understands his role and what Guardiola expects of him.
Davis, who has got a look in his wing mirrors here, because Alvarez is coming in behind him. Lloris is being shut down, and then Davis has got to try and get away from Haaland. Not an easy thing to do. He's pushed out to the far side, but City are chasing and are harassing and trying to win the ball back, but Sessegnon has escaped. He's got over the halfway line now. He's then given the ball back. Grealish was the one who picked it up, but he's inadvertently given it to Kane, and then he's found Son. Emerson Royale's in the area. Right side is Son. Son trying to tee it up for Kulusevski. Kulusevski takes over. Emerson Royale's got it again. It's on to Son inside the area. Mahrez has got to be careful. He's got very tight to him. It comes back out to Emerson Royale, crossing to the box, headed away. Comes back out as far as Romero, who tried to volley it goalwards, but well, his technique was all wrong, and it flew off his boot and into the City fans away to our right-hand side. 16 minutes to go. Manchester City 3, Tottenham Hotspur 2. Live on TalkSport. Here's Yves Bissouma coming on for Rodrigo Bentancur, who's only just coming back from injury.
Yeah, I think Spurs built up really well then and managed to get some good work down the right hand side, getting a ball into the box, but then it lands of Romero at the edge of the box, and it's the ball spinning. He's never, if he puts that in the back of the net, then everybody will be surprised. Not going to happen, and just let down by that final shot.
There's still a long way to go in this game, and we've had so many twists and turns already in the match that I certainly wouldn't be doing too much in terms of punting on the outcome. That's for sure.
Absolutely not. I mean, you could see, that Spurs have not had the best of second halves, but they've still got themselves in front of goal a couple of times, because City, the way they play, allows that to happen. But they just can't concede again, Spurs.
It'd be fascinating to get your thoughts. The Sports Bar is open for business after this game. If you want to give us a call, you can do it. It's 03717223344. That's the number to call. I was listening to Jason Cundy last night when I was on my way back from the Leeds-Cardiff game, and Jason and Darren Ambrose open the Sports Bar tonight from 10 o'clock. It's your chance to have your say on National Radio. We'll hear from Pep Guardiola and Antonio Conte on that programme. Here is Grealish down the left into Julian Alvarez, a bit behind him, and he slipped slightly and got back to his feet before releasing the ball to Rodrigo. Again, Manchester City pressing forward and trying to cause Tottenham more grief. They switch the play to the left. It's taken down by Grealish. Infield it goes to Ake. 3-2 to Manchester City. Mahrez being harassed on the right side by Sessegnon. Free kick has been given. Brentford, Leicester and Nottingham Forest have kept more clean sheets than Spurs this season.
Yeah, it's a worry, isn't it? Because, people complain about Conte being pragmatic, defensive, but yet, they're conceding goals left, right and centre. I mean, we've seen some of the good stuff about Spurs tonight, and obviously seen some of the worst. I think Lloris, when people watch that, the third goal, they'll see it did get a deflection that just spun past him in his near post, and a little bit unfair to blame him on that.
Okay, down the left, he tries to meander down towards the left edge of the penalty area. He cuts it back to the edge of the box, but didn't have the awareness to find the pass. So when he did try to centre it, it was to no one in particular. He's tried to win it back, and he's helped in doing that by putting pressure on Emerson Royale, who then ran into Riyad Mahrez. Lewis allowed to wander out to the far side with very little pressure from Tottenham, who look a little bit jaded now.
Yeah, they've done a lot of work in terms of their organisation of the shape in the first half, defending well, and they just seem to be chasing a little bit more in this second half. I look a little bit tired.
Grealish on the left, hugging the touchline, then wandering infield. Haaland from Alvarez. Dyer reacts well, clears away, and then it's headed into the air by Harry Kane. Here's Son. Oh, he is still playing. He's played the ball out towards his right-hand side. He's really struggled, hasn't he, to get in the game. We mentioned it in the first half, didn't we, about how this season in particular he's really struggle to get involved in games, and I wouldn't be too surprised now as Clement Lenglet and Richarlison come out if he is replaced.
He looks weary to me, Sam. He's played well the last few seasons, Son, and he's just not hitting the numbers in terms of his energy, his physicality, how clinical he is. Like I said in the first half, he always exceeds his expected goals tally because he's so good at finishing, and he's not getting away from people, and I think that must be about fatigue.
Emerson Royale and Ben Davis have come off the field, and on has come Clement Lenglet and Richarlison. So that's going to take me a minute just to work out how they're going to sort this out. I think it's probably a back four now, isn't it? Well, it might not be. Yeah, probably a back four with Kulusevski playing at right back, Lenglet and Romero in the centre. No, Romero playing at right back.
Yep.
Dyer and Lenglet in the centre.
Yep.
Out on the left, Sessegnon.
Yep.
And then a two-man midfield and four up front.
Perfect. Basuma and Højbjerg definitely playing as a two in that midfield, but it's a back four. So they just had Richarlison up with Kane.
And just to try and put a bit of pressure on Manchester City. Going to be difficult to try and keep City out. They're giving the ball away though. Mahrez into Haaland, who backs off the defender, tries to set the ball up for Alvarez. It comes through to the edge of the area before Grealish can get hold of it. It's away by Højbjerg and then headed back forward by Rodri through towards Haaland. He chests it down and gives it back to Mahrez, back into Rodri, and City continue to keep Tottenham on the back foot here on TalkSport. 3-2. They were 2-0 down City at half time. It's now 3-2 to the champions, who are trying to become the first team since Manchester United to win 3 successive Premier League titles. Not an easy thing to do that. That's why it's so scarce that Manchester City, if they are going to do it, are going to have to come from some way back to catch Arsenal. And they've shown their powers of recovery tonight. They've shown their powers of recovery before. Prior to the game, Hugh and I were talking actually about Manchester City and whether or not they could put together a kind of run that would threaten Arsenal's dominance of the title. And he said they probably need to win 17 games between now and the end of the season. They are capable of doing that. Go back to January 2019. They won every single Premier League game for the rest of that season to go on and win it.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one team that can do that, put a run together, then it's City, and the way that they've responded in this second half is a little bit ominous to Arsenal. Arsenal have been cheering Spurs on in the first half.
Oh, it's 4-on-3 in City's favour here, leading by 3-2. One by Haaland, onto Mahrez, edge of the area, tucks it round the corner for Alvarez. Sessegnon came back, tucked it away behind and out for a corner. But they were outnumbered at the back once again. Tottenham Hotspur there, committing men forward to try and get back in the game, and that's going to leave them exposed.
Absolutely, it's real cat and mouse, isn't it? The way that both teams are playing. They're just leaving the space behind, but they have to go forward, Spurs, and try and get that goal. But just about 10 minutes plus left.
Well, Spurs started the night 5 points back from the Champions League places, and before tonight they played the same number of games as Newcastle and Manchester United. Their situation is urgent too, and trailing here is not going to help. Corner to Manchester City, who lead by 3-2. Mahrez towards the far post. Rodri's unmarked. Header against Richarlison. Was there a handball there? And the substitutes on this near side, Ruben Diaz screaming for a handball, and the referee Simon Hooper is saying, look, it's the top of the arm, the shoulder. It didn't hit below the t-shirt line.
Yeah, I think that's what he's trying to say. Richarlison,
his arm was outstretched.
Yeah, his arm was right away from his body, Richarlison, and it did hit his arm. It's just whereabouts it hit his arm, but that ball came a long way without anybody from Spurs dealing with it.
What's your view, having seen the replay? I think his arm's out there.
Yeah, his arm is out, but it's just whereabouts on his arm that it hit.
That's the worst replay I've seen, by the way, as to a handball. I mean, I would have loved to have seen a slightly better angle than that.
Yeah. It looks like it hit his elbow, actually.
It looked like it hit his elbow.
Yeah.
And his arm, he turned his back on the ball. His left arm went out. I mean, I'll have a look at it again here, but I think that should have been a penalty on first glance. Substitution taking place. Rico Lewis is coming off, and Kyle Walker is coming on for Manchester City. for the final few minutes, and I think he deserves a standing ovation that he's getting, and the chance of Rico that are going around the Etihad Stadium.
Absolutely brilliant, this kid. Every time I've seen him, he's shone, and if you're shining in this City team, then you've got something special. And I can see Pep Guardiola giving him a hug, and I just think the way he trusts him, because he does exactly what Guardiola wants him to do. And I think him going a little bit higher in the second half, supporting Mahrez, going beyond Mahrez, actually was the reason why City have got themselves in a leading position.
Yep, well, I tell you what, if that, again, we haven't been offered another replay of that, but if the game does get levelled up again here, I'm sure Pep Guardiola will have something to say about that Richarlison incident.
Yeah, it's a strange one, because it looked like it was only looked at twice and a funny angle, and then the referee obviously got something in his ear saying, check complete, get on with it, because he got on with it really quickly afterwards.
Yeah, really quickly. Here's Alvarez holding the ball up for Manchester City, who lead by 3-2. 84 minutes on the clock. You're listening to Talk Sport. Tomorrow, Championship action, Friday night. Saturday, it's wall-to-wall football. From the minute you wake up to the minute you go to bed, you can be entertained by Talk Sport. Game day is the place to be every single Saturday. I'm really looking forward to Liverpool-Chelsea. Usually I'd be looking forward to it because it is a top-of-the-table clash or a fight for a Champions League place. Now I'm just waiting to see who's going to drop into the bottom half of the table.
Absolutely, I'll be there as well. Sam, really interesting one, not for, like you said, the reasons we would all expect.
Yeah, both those two teams having struggling seasons, although Liverpool were much better when I saw them on Tuesday night at Molineux. They have an intensity about them that has been missing. There's intensity missing from City in the first half, and in the second that was certainly not the case. They have the ball going forward now. Mahrez has got hold of it. Haaland's got himself back onside, and he's been fed by Mahrez. He's into the area. He tried to bully the defender. He was brought down, was he? Well, he looked at the referee asking for a bit of help, but it was good defending, I think, from Christian Romero on that occasion.
Yeah, he did well, Romero. What Haaland tried to do is just put his foot and his body across Romero, and he dealt with it well.
John Stones careering forward down the right side, moves into an advanced position, plays it against Longley, wins the throw-in over on the far touchline, and Manchester City, with 5 minutes to go, keep Tottenham penned in their own half again. They've got the ball to Rodri. He's delivered a cross in towards Grealish inside the box, looking for Haaland, who looked to try and outmuscle Romero again. He's still at 100% Haaland, despite getting on the score sheet tonight. Grealish with a lovely little touch, a delicate little toe down towards the corner flag. He pokes it back in field, looking for Bernardo Silva. Højbjerg comes across and hoists it out of play.
Yeah, he's enjoying himself. Jack Grealish stand that left-hand side. He held the width. He nearly stood on this sideline all the way along the first half. Didn't really get it that much, but there's been a lot more involved in this second half.
City being accused of wasting time now by Simon Hooper. Antonio Conte looks a forlorn figure. Well, they are about to lose, Spurs, for the 7th time in the last 14 matches in all competitions. That's a pretty stark reminder of just how poor their recent form has been, Lucy.
Yeah, I agree, but I think that he will try and take some positives from at least the first half performance and the way that they defended and then got the goals, but absolutely blitzed by City in the second half, which they can do to any team, to be fair to Spurs.
Højbjerg getting it back for Tottenham Hotspur. Yves Bissouma weaves his way brilliantly past Bernardo Silva, moves up towards halfway. He funnels it into the path of Kulusevski, who's now running at Nathan Ake, and Richarlison has cut across and was offering an option, but City have won it back, and it's 3-on-3, and City are steaming forward with Jack Grealish leading the charge. He was knocked to the ground. He wanted a free kick. He didn't get one. He's laying on the floor, he's thumping the grass. Pep Guardiola is almost on the pitch, dancing, screaming, shouting, bounding into the air, shaking his fist, vexing his gaze, boring into the back of the bald head of Simon Hooper, the referee. He's furious that wasn't a free kick. I think he's been furious with a couple of decisions tonight. Spurs come forward, down the right. Kulusevski moves towards the edge of the area, produces a cross into the air. Højbjerg tries to win a header. He tries to bring it under control. He steers it back to Son. He can't control it inside the area. It's cleared away by Manchester City. What a chance.
That was a chance, Sam. again, quite clever Spurs, how they're getting the ball. Like Kulusevski is such a good player. His choice of ball into the box is excellent.
Yeah, he's taking on Grealish, who's got back to help out his defence this time, taking it towards the corner flag, then dabbed it into Akanji. Silva then takes it back to the Swiss defender, who clears upfield, and it goes towards the halfway line, and now it's Spurs' chance to turn on the pressure taps for the final 2 minutes maybe. Guardiola's not happy again. He's slapping his hands, he's shouting at everybody. He's gone over and sat down in his dugout.
He's as entertaining as the game, Guardiola, to watch. And he doesn't sit down for long. He's back up again because Spurs have got just got the ball and are threatening at times as well for City to see this game out.
Manchester City about to move within 5 points of Arsenal, but Kane has flashed the ball through the box, which Edison almost threw on the floor. Grealish has gone down, but he's got back up again. He was threatening to go down and call a halt to things. He's got back up and just wandered into a midfield position, and Guardiola's just turned around and said to him, hey, just go down, just go down. If there's a problem, just go down. He's now bellowing at Ruben Diaz. Ruben Diaz can't get his tracksuit off quick enough. He's got it caught on his boots.
Do you know what? It makes me laugh how they're not ready to go on. You know, when he turns round and it absolutely fuming Guardiola that Diaz is struggling to get his trackies over his boots.
Come on. They said it's like my son in the morning when he's trying to get ready for school. You need a racing change. Come on, fella. Get those boots ready. He's going absolutely mad, Guardiola. He wants to get him on. He wants to get Grealish off because he's not 100%, but he might not need to worry because Mahrez has escaped the defender. He's tripped it over the goalkeeper and sealed all 3 points for Manchester City with a stunning comeback and a wonderful finish to the game. Riyad Mahrez scores Manchester City's fourth. They were 2-0 down at half-time, but a second-half blitz of goals has secured all 3 points for Pep Guardiola's men, taking them to within 5 of Arsenal as Tottenham have melted in the heat of the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City 4, Tottenham Hotspur 2.
Tell you what, it's a speculative ball forward really, and Longley should have dealt with it, but he had no idea that Mahrez was over his right shoulder, so he took a touch and then Mahrez just nicked it off him, but Mahrez still had to finish it, and he has been on fire in this game, Mahrez.
Well, this creaky, leaky Spurs defence was never going to keep out the Premier League's top scorers. But to score 4 goals against Tottenham in the second half has been mightily impressive, and just shows that despite what their manager said on Saturday afternoon, Lucy, Manchester City really do care about the Premier League.
Absolutely they do, and they've been absolutely led by Mahrez, who's been absolutely sensational in the second half, driven forward by him. He's involved in the goals and he's won this game for City.
Manchester City 4, Tottenham Hotspur 2, live on TalkSport. We're into injury time at the end of the 90. Pep Guardiola has finished, I think, bellowing for tonight. I think he can probably save his voice now till Sunday when they take on Wolverhampton Wanderers. Tottenham Hotspur, what a big game it is for them now. Monday Night Football live on TalkSport, away at Fulham. Join us for that one. Danny Murphy will be with Adrian and I at Craven Cottage on Monday night. It's a huge, huge weekend in the title race. Arsenal take on Manchester United. Both those two still harbour ambitions of winning the Premier League. Arsenal certainly should, but Manchester City do too. And here's Grealish as they continue to flex their muscles onto Alvarez, and he maybe was a little bit lackadaisical with his finish there because he tried from a very difficult angle to sneak it in the near post. That wasn't going to happen. It's a goal kick away to our left hand side, and it remains 4-2 to the champions of England, who want to be champions again. If Arsenal are going to win this title, they ain't going to get a free pass. And it may not be a significant indication at this moment in time as well, Lucy, but it is worth pointing out that as a result of the goals they've scored tonight, they've now got a better goal difference than Arsenal, Manchester City.
That everything's important. Spurs nearly gave the ball away in their own area. I think it was a foul in the end on Basuma. But yeah, you're right, Sam. You know, if they can score goals twofold, it gives them confidence. They get 3 points, and also the goal difference.
Well, Tottenham Hotspur losing games considerably, and after being 2-0 up in it against Manchester City, who really should have done more to protect their league. It's not easy against the Manchester City side that have the attacking talents of Julian Alvarez, Riyad Mahrez, Jack Grealish and Erling Haaland, but to crumble in the way that they have in this second half, I think it's probably going to be disappointing for Antonio Conte as Son comes forward and runs into a blue wall on the edge of the box. It's cleared away by City, and Silva can spot the run of Grealish through the centre. Grealish, who in the end didn't end up coming off when Diaz came on. It was Erling Haaland who came off the pitch, and Grealish, a bit like Rashford on Saturday, being made to suffer by his manager. Get out there and keep going. Oh boy, he's done a great job tonight, by the way, Grealish. His contribution cannot be underestimated.
Yeah, he's done very, very... I think all the City players play well, particularly him, Lewis and Mahrez in this second half.
Bernardo Silva floating the ball to the far touchline. Kyle Walker, Manchester City now at walking pace, knowing that there are mere seconds to play in injury time. We're into the 5th minute of injury time. The cameras are trained on Pep Guardiola, who celebrates. At the end of the first half there were boos. At the end of the second half there is nothing but glee from the Manchester City supporters. Manchester City's comeback kings close the gap at the top of the Premier League to 5 points, and if they win on Sunday they could have that down to 2 ahead of Arsenal's date with Manchester United. Pep's team recover to produce a performance that shows, despite what their manager said at the weekend, they very much care about the Premier League. A stunning second half show after conceding 2 goals in first half stoppage time to come back from 2-0 down to win the game by 4 goals to 2. A brilliant performance from Mahrez and Grealish, and in particular from Rico Lewis as well, as Manchester City set their stall out and make a statement once again. Manchester City 4, Tottenham 2.